Hello, my name is Han-ha, and today I'm going to talk about 시회. What is 시회? The ancient writers of East Asia enjoyed the style of music, and only when they knew the style of music would they be included in the ranks of the aristocrats, the true writers. These are arts such as poetry creation, calligraphy, musical instruments, and songs. In particular, poetry creation was recognized as an outstanding ability in any era and was a cultural power of the intellectual class. Therefore, writers devoted themselves to writing poetry. For writers, poetry was also a virtue of self-realization of moral values, but it was an essential cultural for social exchange. They communicated through poetry conferences at important moments in their lives, such as meeting, parting, celebration, and disparaging and expressing emotions, communicating emotions, and healing pain. 시회 can be defined as an exchange activity between writers who gather at a certain time and space to write poetry. The specific conditions of creation vary somewhat depending on the times and situation, but in general, after writing a poem in 시회 on a specific subject, they review it and review it on and on. Poetry creation may be the main purpose of the meeting or may be carried out as part of a specific ritual such as court or official ceremonies, seasonal activities, etc. It may be one time, may have a certain period, or may be held irregularly and repeatedly. In fact, ancient East Asian writers wrote poems and exchanged them with other writers at numerous gatherings for various purposes, including encounters, separations, celebrations, ceremonies, and pure communion. In this way, all meetings with poetry creation can be said to be poetry. As such, poetry was the center of East Asian spiritual culture, and 시회 was an important medium for the creation and consumption of the spiritual culture, an elegant communication culture of writers, and intellectual play. Just as all human artistic activities include some playing elements, such as playing and competition, 시회 is also more of an open poetry game in playing and a field of intellectual play than a rigid or ritual act. Therefore, participation in the 시회, which is poetry meeting, was never mandatory, but rather it is held or participated with the desire to enjoy it, and the act of proceeding with the desire to enjoy it in such a resolute time inevitably leads to artistic and aesthetic pursuit. The reason why ancient civil servants were active in 시회 through poetry beyond political gains and losses was not only to share high and intellectual artistic tastes through poetry, but also to secure exclusive cultural power by promoting their talents through poetry. Although it has long lost its utility value for various reasons from now, such as the specificity of the expression medium of Chinese characters and the Western orientation of academies and culture, which ancient writers enjoyed, the size, aesthetic depth, and sociocultural history have not disappeared. Thank you for listening.